Hey, what's going on, everybody? Desir here, and we're here to talk about Season 9 of Cosmic Crucible. Now, in a blog, they did mention that the Cosmic Crucible is going to be starting on Sunday as opposed to the normal Monday schedule. So that means it's going to be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday as opposed to the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday that we've been used to. Because of that, I wasn't able to get the infographics ready. I wanted to make sure I got some defense options out for you guys. When week 2 comes out, I'm definitely going to have that infographic ready to where I typically do those 4 teams per room, which I think that's going to be a good thing. It will give some time for the rules to kind of set in and make sure everything's working as it should be. So for this video, I'm going to show you what I'm going to be doing on defense along with one other team that you might be able to use if you want to do that option. I kind of felt that was important to give you guys options, even if it's just one other option that I think can really slot into that room. As far as the global rules goes, they definitely seem lacking this season. The only thing they're going to be doing is having your Wakanda characters count as Illuminati characters. So if you want, you might be able to use your Shuri, mainly because of that speed up and the defense up that she gives for her special. I think Black Panther 1 mil could be a little bit interesting to steal those buffs. And I also think the Nakia could be a decent option, just as far as like the pings that she gives and the damage output that she does have on the team. Overall though, I think Iron Man's still going to be the better option over that Captain Britain if you don't have him. But let's go ahead and get started with this and take a look at the Stage 1 team that I'll be using. Stage 1 is called Full House. We had this room a few seasons back, and this is the one where whenever your character is a skirmisher on hit, you will apply ability block. On here it says to the primary target. However, during the Cosmic Crucible content creator tournament that they had, that was actually applying ability block to everybody just like it did previously. So that does change things, as we need to see if that is going to apply ability block to everybody like in the previous Cosmic Crucible seasons or just the primary target. However, the optimal ISO class should be Raider. That's the one that's going to allow you to actually clear the ability block and also heal off of the ability block being cleared. Now, if you end up staying a striker, that's going to give you additional damage. As far as the team I'll be using in here, I'm going to use Rogue, Gambit, Forge. Then I'm going to add in Captain America and the Black Knight in this room. The main reason for that is Gambit is a ticking time bomb, just like previously when he was in this room. Forge, I'm keeping him also as a Raider, that way I am able to do the cleanse with the ultimate and revive heals. Captain America's in here to basically give that additional deflection for the Black Knight to make it harder to peel those taunts off of him. I'm also making the Black Knight a Raider just because I like his abilities with his special and the ultimate. I want to make sure he actually can get his abilities off. Now, as far as alternate teams that you can put in this room, you can go with the 4-piece Extreme X-Men, take Nightcrawler out, and add Rogue in. The reason I'm taking Nightcrawler out is I believe that he's going to be a better suited fit to go with the Mercs for Money Old Man Logan team, which we'll discuss that room later on in this video. If you end up going with the 4-piece Extreme X-Men, add in Rogue. Again, just try to make them all Raiders. All of them work really good as far as getting their abilities off. If you don't want to spend the ISO tax for this season, you are free to keep Cyclops a striker if he is already a striker. His really doesn't matter. He's just there to help speed up Forge in case somebody ends up dying. Let's go ahead and move over to Stage 2 next. Stage 2 is called Fatigued. This is actually a pretty interesting room. So your ultimate abilities are going to cost 2 less. Also, when you end up using your ultimate ability, you're going to gain slow. On ally turn, characters with slow will gain assist now. That makes this room very interesting. The team that I'm going to use in here is going to be the 3-piece Hive Mind, add in Super Skrull, and put Sasquatch in here. Sasquatch is a pre-taunt without actually have that pre-taunt on him, so characters like Zemo can't actually peel off the taunt when they basically spawn in like that, which makes him very useful. I end up putting Sasquatch in the middle. That way I actually have on the bookends the Void Knight and the Super Skrull, so you can't target those characters right off the bat. Having them be able to use their ultimates right away on turn 1, including Super Skrull, that's going to get the slow on them, and it's going to make it a very interesting room, especially when Red Goblin ends up using that ultimate and throwing all those slows right back at the opponents. They're going to be going a whole lot slower. I think this is going to be kind of the staple for the start of the season. We'll see if this ends up shifting over to something different throughout the season. Now, a team I was thinking that would be really interesting in here, if you want to go with the secondary option, would end up being the Spider Society. Take out Ghost Spider and put Spider Weaver in here. There's already going to be another Tangled Web member on here. Spider Weaver is going to be able to ult turn 1, and she's going to be able to get to her ultimate a whole lot faster, especially having another Tangled Web member in here, and how this ends up playing out. So I think this could be a very sneaky team in here. We'll see if this ends up working. I might try this one later on. I want to really test the Hive Mind Super Scroll team first. If I do end up moving this out into a different room and using this one in here, I'll kind of keep you guys posted if that does end up working fairly well. But in my mind, I think this is kind of a sneaky team. Let's go ahead and move over to Stage 3 next. Stage 3 looks like it's going to be our nothing room for the season, so you can always treat this as the dead room. What this room is for Twisted Blade is, for all characters, if you end up having vulnerable and you hit a character, you end up applying vulnerable to that character as well, up to a max of 5. If you hit a vulnerable character, they end up getting bleed on them. It really doesn't sound too impactful. This kind of feels almost like that exposed room that we had last season. So I'm not really a fan of this one. I'm just going to treat this as a nothing room. The best team that could take advantage of this is going to be Spider Society, mainly because they end up clearing off their own vulnerables anyways. So it really makes it to where the other team really doesn't gain any benefit of this room at all. If you want, you can always add Black Knight in here. I'm just going to do the full Spider Society because I want to use Black Knight elsewhere. And Spider Society is going to pull a pretty good team anyways because of how good this team is. The other alternative team they can put in here is going to be Infinity Watch. This is just a dead room. I'm trying to drain efficiency in here, so that's why I have those two teams as the option. Let's go on, move over to Stage 4 next. Stage 4, I think, is going to be the most difficult room this season to try to deal with, depending what team you put in here. Once Week 2 hits, this room's going to be Illuminati. Until then, it's going to be the Old Man Logan room. The main reason for that is the teams that end up beating Old Man Logan pretty much need to have the ultimates available on that turn 1. Stage 4 is Vibranium Enhanced. What this room does for you is, if you end up using your basic ability, you generate 1 ability energy. Also, your abilities cost 2 more. The way this actually works is, it doesn't actually put you at your max if you would have started at your max anyways. It adds 2 onto your max, so you're going to have to wait at least 1 to 2 turns until you get your ultimate ability off. So that team I ended up using last season that Pat ended up finding, where it was the Tangled Web with Red Hulk, Apocalypse, and throw Emma in there, that's not going to work this season. Spider Weaver's not going to be able to have her ultimate on turn 1, 2099 won't have the ultimate on turn 1, same with Apocalypse. So you really need to finesse this room if you're going to try to do that. The team I'm putting in here I think is going to cause quite a bit of issues. So I'm putting Zombie Juggernaut in here as the pre-taunt. He starts off with his special anyways, where it's going to put those slows out there. Old Man Logan, he starts off with his special, and he's going to start ramping up to where you can get that ability energy a whole lot faster anyways, so he doesn't really care about the punishment of the ultimates costing 2 more. Panda Pool is in here as the reflexive taunt. For Nightcrawler, he's going to start off with this special anyways, and it's going to take him a little bit longer to get to that ultimate, but I think he's going to be perfectly fine with it. The twist I have in here is actually going to be the Guardian. He's going to be able to put that barrier offense up and regens out there for the entire team. So this team's going to hit a whole lot harder right off the bat. They're going to have that protection with the barrier. And also he's going to start off with his special to where it's going to put buffs on this team. And he's going to end up being able to do his ultimate on turn 3 as well. Which that's going to end up causing a delayed stun to the enemy team. I think Guardian's going to be really good with this team. I'm really excited to see how this one's going to work. I actually like this room a lot in here. Not being able to use your ultimates on that turn 1 is going to be a pretty interesting twist to this. Now, as far as another team that you can put in here, I think if you go with the 3-piece Extreme X-Men, add Old Man Logan, add Rogue in here. Rogue's going to be that reflexive taunt, and we already discussed what Old Man Logan does. Gambit, it doesn't really matter when he gets to his ultimate because he's a ticking time bomb, same with Nightcrawler. You're going to have Forge in here as well for that added protection, so I think the alternative team is going to be good in here if you want to try this one out as well. Let's go ahead and move over to Stage 5 next. Stage 5 is a room that we ended up having last season as well, which is health insurance. This is the room where on turn you're going to clear all positive effects, heal for 10% of your max health for each positive effect that was removed. I'm going to treat this as a nothing room for now. I want to make sure that I have enough things on offense that I can full clear, get a really good efficiency score, and then from there I'm going to start shifting things over to the defensive side more. So Infinity Watch being able to just kind of fill that as a efficiency sink right now is going to be really beneficial to me. Now, something that you want to keep in mind when you're placing your defenses this season is try to think what teams need their buffs on to be able to counter you. Teams such as Masters of Evil and New Warriors really need to rely on the buffs that they get to be able to beat their teams, such as the offense up for the Masters of Evil, the regens, the dodges, and everything that New Warriors brings. They need to make sure they have those buffs. So being able to put teams in here such as Superior 6 is going to be a very big hard counter to those teams. So typically for Superior 6, I usually like to sack it and then go in with New Warriors if I need to do a sack. That ends up bringing in a great counter for me to where I can use those teams efficiently. I don't believe that's going to work this season as the New Warriors really need to rely on those buffs, and this is going to put a hard counter to that. However, be prepared for your Superior 6 to go on offense. Right now it looks like when Captain Britain comes out, that Superior 6 is going to be the answer to that. But if you do want to turtle for a little bit, you can definitely put Superior 6 in Stage 5 for now. Let's go on and move over to Stage 6 next. Stage 6 is a whole new room thanks to Dulom. He was the content creator Cosmic Crucible champion? I'm saying that with a question mark because they put way too many C's in that. Basically last season he's the one that was the champion. This is the room that he ended up coming up with. Every time you use your ultimate ability, your opponent is going to gain 1 ability energy for every enemy on the other side of the field. So that's going to make it a little bit interesting as far as when you want to use your ultimate, when you want to use your special, and your basic. Certain teams, the ultimate ability is going to be very important, and that's just going to push your opponent to be able to use those ultimates a whole lot faster. Now, as I've been saying in this video, I am going more offensive heavy for the first week. I want to make sure I get the full clear. I want to make sure I get a very good efficiency score so I can start climbing back up the ranks again. So the team in Stage 6 is just going to be my Darkhold with Quicksilver team. I know it's very bland, very basic. There's a lot of counters out for it, but that's just going to leave me more weapons to use on offense. And then after my round 1 matchup, I'll see if I need to move anything more to defense. And then round 2 and round 3. By that time, I should be able to have a very good infographic for you guys as far as the defense options video that I initially had planned for all of you. So make sure that you do follow up with this video, as I'll have another one out after week 1 is finished. Now, if you don't want to use the Darkhold Quicksilver team, another good option in here is going to be the full Spider Society team. The Spider Society team is very dangerous, especially if you're able to start feeding them ability energy, so that way they can actually get to those ultimates a whole lot faster and more often. So I think the Spider Society team is a very good option in here. Now, if you do go with the Spider Society team here, just use the alternate team on the other room. But that is the defenses I plan to use for my round 1 and hopefully all of week 1. Now, just a friendly reminder, the Cosmic Crucible again starts on Sunday instead of Monday, so make sure that you get those defenses updated as soon as you can. Now, if you did end up liking this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.